Hi guys, in this video I'm going to be reviewing Sony's Cybershot DSC RX100. This is their flagship model out of their compact cameras and it has some pretty impressive specifications. Just a few are a 1-inch XMOR CMOS sensor with an effective 20.2 megapixels. It has a f1.8 Carl Zeiss Vario-Sonnar T lens. It has a good mix of auto settings as well as full manual control. You can capture in both JPEG or RAW, record up to 1080p video quality, and it's also good in low light with an ISO of up to 6400. It has a high-speed autofocus and can take up to 10 frames per second. It has a 3-inch extra fine LCD screen with white magic technology, and it also has optical steady shot with an active mode to help prevent blurring. Now, before I go into any more detail about this camera, here's a quick unboxing. So now I'm going to go through the exterior of the camera. On the rear we have a tripod receptacle, and just underneath that we have a micro HDMI connector. So you will need the appropriate lead cable as it isn't included. To the left of that we have the battery hatch. If you do need a spare battery you will need to get one with the model number NPBX1, however I haven't had the need to purchase one. Underneath that is where you store your memory card, and as this is a 20 megapixel camera, I would recommend anything from 8 gig or higher. I went for the 16 gig. On the side we have another little flap which will give you access to the micro USB connector. This is how you charge up your camera as well as navigating through all your files. On the back we have a very little patch of grip. I personally think that they've got a good balance between the grip and the style. However, some people may not like that because it is only a little patch of grip, and some people may want that just extra grip to keep it more secure. But I do have a case, so I don't really have any grip problems. To the right of that we have the record button, and underneath we have the menu, followed by the function, which is extremely useful. You can select up to 7 different functions for easy access, and underneath this we have the normal navigations, as well as you can have quick access to flash. We've got the timer as well as continuous or burst shooting, and we have the display. Just underneath everything we have the on-screen help function, which is actually saved me a couple of times. It gives you some really good tips, and followed by the playback button. Up on the top we have the control dial, which depending on which one you have selected will change the mode you're on. We have the on and off button, shutter, zoom in, zoom out. We have the stereo microphones and the flash. Now I'm going to turn this on so I can show you what the flash does when it pops out. There we go. So it pops out when needed, and then you have to manually push it down to get rid of it. And on the side here we have the control dial, which will do different things depending on what mode you're on. For instance, if I'm on the shutter priority, by twisting this around we'll adjust the shutter settings, and if I'm on aperture it will change the aperture settings. Although this camera is aimed towards people who know a little bit more about photography, it does have modes for those who just want to point and shoot. So I'm just going to go through the beginner modes to show you what this camera has to offer. So the first 2 main modes, you'll see just on the control dial there is one highlighted in green and one as gold. I'll just zoom in a little bit further. There we go. Okay, so you can see this one here is green, that one here is gold. The one in green is the intelligent auto. This is mainly for scenic shots, and then we have the superior auto, which I think is more for like evening shots or whatnot. I personally haven't really noticed the difference between these two. Most of the time you get really good results from it. However, for those times where it doesn't quite get it, you do have this scene mode. There we go, or scene selection. This will give you some really good modes to choose from. For instance, this one here, portrait mode, will basically blur away the background, focusing on your subject. We have an anti-motion blur, sports mode for those fast-moving targets. However, it does recommend using it in bright places. We have a pet mode, which I haven't used because I don't have a pet. A gourmet mode, which I personally think is fantastic. I've taken a couple of shots on food, and I don't know what it does, but it seems to make it look even better than what it actually is. Macro mode, once again, also very good. I've taken a few pictures of flowers, etc., and the results have been really good, as long as you don't go too close to it. Landscape mode, sunset, night scene. This I've actually had quite good results from. Handheld twilights. Now it does say handheld twilights, but I would recommend using a tripod if you can. It will, or either that, or just have a sturdy hand, and you will get some really good results from that. We have night portraits. We have fireworks, and then we have the high ISO. And that's pretty much it for the scene modes. The next one, which is easy to use, is the sweep shooting, and you literally just start off over here, press down the shutter, and then you move it from left to right. And obviously I'm not in a space, in a nice clear space to be able to do it properly, but you do get some really fantastic shots with that. And then we have the movie mode. Pretty simple, just stick with program auto, and then just press this button here when you want to record. The quality is outstanding. It's in 1080p quality. Nothing bad I can say about the video. It's very good. For those who really like to tweak the settings themselves, then you're going to love the manual modes. The first one we have is Program Auto, and this automatically sets the aperture and shutter speed, but you can adjust everything else. And you can do this by going into the menu button. There's loads of different things you can tweak, or you can go into the Setting tab 2 and go down to the Function button, and you have 7 different presets which you can change. So let's go to Drive mode, and I'm going to change this down to let's see, soft skin effect. So if I go back out and press the Function button, you'll see that I have the soft skin effect, and I can quickly change it to how I like. Same with this, the exposure comp. There we go. It's just really easy to change the settings that you want. So the Function button is going to be a useful tool for those who like to change the settings manually. The next one we have is aperture. So the maximum aperture is 11, and you can go all the way down to 1.8. And there really is a difference in apertures. For instance, if you have it on 1.8, you're going to get a bit more blur around the focus target, but with 11 you're going to have less of that. And here's a quick example. So as you've just seen, there is definitely a noticeable difference between each photo. Now the next one we have is shutter priority, and this can give you some really cool effects. I would advise anyone who wants to experiment to dive in and just have a like a play around. But for those who want to use slower speeds, make sure you get a tripod. So as it states here, for the faster speeds it makes things appear stopped momentarily, and for slower speeds it captures traces of movement. So the picture in the background is clearly of a waterfall where someone's put it on a tripod and have put it on a slower shutter speed to capture the traces of water. You can also use slower shutter speeds for star photography, etc. The next one is a manual exposure mode, which allows you to adjust aperture and shutter speed manually. And the final manual mode is memory recall. And this allows you to adjust 3 different pre-settings. So you'll say choose one of them, go through all the settings and change them to how you want it, and next time when you go on to memory recall 1, it would have saved them. And if you want to go to a different preset setting, you can go to Photo tab 5, down to Memory Recall, and then you can choose another one to set all your settings. And that way you don't have to go through every single detail setting again. You can just go back to one of them, and it just saves a lot of hassle. So I'm gonna now show you a couple of photos I've taken just to show you a quick example of what this camera can do. To finalise my review, I have to say that this camera has been absolutely fantastic. I've owned it for a couple of months now, which apart from the first few days where I struggled to understand the manual settings, it's been a real joy to use. It's allowed me to take photos I couldn't normally take on other low-end cameras, and I've been very pleased with the results. So for those who want this as a main camera, if you're really into the manual modes, then you're going to absolutely love this. If you already have a DSLR, then this probably won't replace it, as this does have pretty poor zoom, but what it lacks in zoom really does make up in image quality, so it would definitely make a very good secondary camera. As for those who want something for point and shoot, if you really want the high-end quality and don't mind splashing out the extra cash, then go for it. For those who want simple point and shoot cameras, go for the more low-end ones because you're going to save a lot of money. But for those who really want full control and want the high-end quality pictures, then this is definitely a camera for you. I want to say a big thank you for watching my video. I hope that you found it helpful as well as enjoyable. If you would like to be updated on future unboxings, reviews and competitions, please subscribe. By doing this, you are also supporting my channel. I do have other videos that may be of interest to you, so feel free to have a browse. Once again, thank you for the support, and I hope to catch you on the next video.